Hi everyone, this is Marie Blue Angel back again with Daughter of a Scoundrel. So last time we, Marie, the main character, found out that, well, not really found out, but she has to move uh, to somewhere else that is not the place that she's currently at, which is where she lives with her grandfather. Her grandfather's ordered her to follow the orders of these men that he's sending to keep her safe. And just a recap, her grandfather's out of town. Um, Her best friend Morgan had come into town to hang out, but she is also left for her own safety. So let's see what happens because I am intrigued. I am assuming these men that we'll see are part of the guard, the bodyguard. Don't know. I really don't know much about this visual novel stories, so I'm going into it quite blind. But, anyways, let's just get into it so we can see what happens. I reach over and turn my phone alarm off, being greeted with blinding white light from the screen. Oh, 4 a.m. already? Normally I would complain. You kind of did. But I couldn't sleep much, anyways. I kept waking up from the men's voices and movements throughout the night, and all it did was further my anxiety each time my slumber was interrupted. I mean, honestly, it'd be very hard for me to sleep, honestly, if I was in a situation like that. It felt like each time I woke up was a new chance the man had found me. 2 hours of consecutive sleep is better than none, though, I guess. Still on edge, I collect my suitcase and begin to drag my things out with me, constantly watching my back. Ugh, I'd hate to have that feeling. Hmm? Am I going crazy? I looked around cautiously as I stepped outside the front door, locking it behind me. There was not a single soul present. Oh. Did they already leave? But I heard them not too long ago. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to stand here with my mouth open like a sitting duck. Maybe they're responding to a situation. Who knows? You're just walking? I looked at my phone as I followed the GPS location to make sure I was going the right way. If Grandpa was that worried, it must have been important. It must be important. I have to make sure I don't make a mistake. I think it's a mistake. Is it a mistake to you just walk off and no one's around? I think so. It's 4 a.m. in the morning, too early. I probably look like a scared kitten, jumping at every slight sound. But I don't care. At this point, I'd just rather much be in that car Grandpa mentioned, so I'd at least have the safety of another person instead of walking alone tonight. Walking the eerily empty and quiet street, I can't help but be reminded of last night, and it sent a chill down my spine. Okay, Marie, just focus. It'll be okay. I just have to trust Grandpa. He wouldn't send me out unless he knows I'd be completely safe, right? I mean, I think so. Grandpa cares about us. I quickly glance up to the moon, knowing I wouldn't get a response to my questions, but felt disappointed at the lack of one nonetheless. As I approached 7th Avenue, just like Grandpa said, there's a car waiting there. Although it looks a little scary, the car is completely black, the windows tinted, and more. I can see the driver, who is, in fact, wearing a dark red tie. Breathing a sigh of relief, I go to sit in the back seat. Good morning, Miss Scarletta. Hesitantly, I clear my throat. Good morning to you, too. Sensing my nerves, the driver continued speaking with a slightly softer tone. Today, our destination is the Ventola estate. Lovely place. I assure you, you will be safe there. We will arrive there in around an hour, not including traffic. Please, Make yourself comfortable. Slightly more at ease, I give a hum of acknowledgement. I began to wonder why he was so formal with me, but decided to shrug it off. You're gonna find out. I'd rather have an over-polite chauffeur than a crazy, murderous waiter. Like you have to say it. Despite my efforts to stay awake and look where we were going, the hum from the car slowly lulled me back to sleep. Okay. Here we are. My eyes slowly fluttered awake as I heard the door open, held by the driver. Excuse me for waking you, Miss Carletta. We have arrived. Shit. Guess I fell asleep. I mean, you weren't able to sleep for a while, so... I took the man's offered hand, helping me out of the back seat. It was only then I noticed he wore dark sunglasses despite the sun barely in the sky, put on gloves at some point, and... Why does he keep avoiding my gaze? I felt the ground crunch between my feet before moving to grab my things, only noticing that the man already had them, sitting next to him on the ground. Guess he got them when I was sleeping. Not wanting to make him carry my bags, I reached out to pick them up. Though slightly faster than me, the driver simply took them into one of his now gloved hands. Allow me, Signora. My eyebrows furrowed together in confusion as I took in his odd behavior. Unlike most people, however, he didn't seem to care to elaborate and only lowered his gaze further. Using his free hand to motion, I follow his lead. Okay. When we moved around the car, that's when I finally saw and took it all in. Before me stood a huge estate, and I almost couldn't stop my jaw from dropping. Is staying here really okay? Excuse me, Miss Carletta. Right this way, if you would. Follow me. If you would follow me. I can read. Pulled from my thoughts, I nod at him as an embarrassed flush crosses my cheeks. I knew it, they're all gonna be here. I don't know why I'm so shocked. They just all appeared on screen at the same time. It's so funny. Got their little bodyguard on the right here. He escorts me to the room, allowing me to walk in first. 6 men stand in the living room, talking about things in hushed voices. Do we really all have to be here for this? Talk about a meeting turned into a drag. The one with red hair expresses his displeasure openly, causing the eldest-looking man to also adopt a look of contempt on his features. Who's the oldest-looking one? Oh, you? We met you first. Earlier, when we were hanging out with Morgan. You were at the library. I remember this. You and the red-haired guy was... We were at the arcade, question mark? Okay. Your lack of composure and work ethic continues to surprise me, especially considering what happened recently. Must I remind you? The red-haired one simply closes his mouth upon being scolded by the blonde-haired man, averting his gaze as he scowled at the floor. If our security had fewer flaws, perhaps more patrols, then this wouldn't. Sensing my discomfort, or simply doing his job, the driver announces my presence. Thank you, Mr. Driver, effectively cutting off the heated discussion. Excuse me, senors. May I present Miss Marie Scarletta? Wow, all eyes on you. Upon my entrance, some adopt looks of surprise on their face, almost as if they weren't expecting me. I will admit, though, some of them look rather familiar. Although I'm too distressed and tired to really think about it. It's only 5 a.m. in the morning, so, you know. The tallest one in the room, the blonde-haired man in a gray suit, clears his throat before speaking. Good morning, Senora. Please excuse us. We were unaware you were present. Oh, it's fine. Please don't worry about it. I nervously eye all the men, shifting slightly on my feet. Why are they all dressed in suits? Are they bigwigs of some sort? You don't even know, girl. The man in the gray suit must have seen through my play it cool act because he gives me an opening to leave. You must be tired. Allow me to escort you to your room. There is plenty of time for introductions later in the day. The tall blonde man took my bag from the driver, whom he dismissed with a nod. Bye, driver. Thank you. Thank you. That would be very kind of you. Swallowing my anxiety, I say goodbye to the rest of the men in the room and receive solemn nods from them all. Okay. Be interesting to see our relationship to all of these people later on. The man led me up the stairs, taking me down a long corridor before we stopped at a door close to the end. He opened the door and motioned me inside the room with his hand, to which I obliged and entered first. Okay, cute little room. Here you are, miss. Please rest up and use the room as you desire. He moved to set my bag by the door and then crossed his arms across his chest. Thank you for your kindness. It's nothing, I assure you. Feel free to join us for breakfast, or head to the common room once you wake. I want to ask his name, but his cool, overly formal demeanor makes me want to freeze up. He turns to leave the room, but my voice finally breaks through. Excuse me. Before you go, what is your name? Oh, okay. Antonio Ventola. Though just Antonio is fine in terms of formality. Good to know, Antonio. I'm the head of this house, so feel free to discuss anything you might need with me. I appreciate it. Everything. Thank you so much. Of course. You're safe here, so get as much rest as possible. Good night. Despite being the stoic, I never seem to smile type, he seems nice enough. With a sigh, I go to place my bags in a corner and then walk up to the nice bed, sliding my feet into the duvet. I looked around the dark room cautiously, feeling a bit uneasy as I could hear Antonio's footsteps move down the hall and eventually descend the stairs. Beyond that, it became eerily quiet. Almost instantly, despite my mental protests, my exhaustion caused me to fall asleep. I mean, fair. There's a lot going on, girl. My head hurts. It's morning. I slowly open my eyes, prepared to be attacked by bright light. Huh? While it's still a bit bright and takes my eyes a moment to adjust, it's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. Is the window tinted or something? I mean, most likely. I roll out of bed to go check the window, feeling a bit curious if it had some fancy UV tint. Upon inspection, though, there wasn't anything that stood out, but the windows were thick, like the glass from the car. I mean, it's probably bulletproof, if, the Ventola estate has anything to say. Might be bulletproof? Guess it makes sense, though. In a ritzy mansion like this, I imagine they have the money to pour into random safety features. I go to clean myself up, brushing my hair and things of the like. While I'm still a bit cautious about this whole arrangement, I find myself a bit more at ease than I have been in the last 24 hours. At least I won't get murdered here. Or something. Probably. But I'm still here with at least one guy I don't really know. Do the other ones stay here too? I don't know, girl. We have to ask them. I realized they probably planned on telling me when I woke up. I think he mentioned breakfast. Guess I'll try and find the kitchen. I walked downstairs and wandered through the house, realizing I forgot to ask where the kitchen was last night, but the growl in my stomach only makes me more determined to find it. After a few minutes of searching, still not finding even a single person, I finally push through a door that leads me into the kitchen. Jackpot! The younger blonde man from last night suddenly appeared from around the corner, a teasing look displayed on his figures. Oh, our resident sleepyhead is finally awake, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I disturb you? Me? Nah, I'm just surprised the duvet monster didn't devour you whole with how long you've been asleep. How long how long have I been asleep? What do you mean? Was I asleep for long? 48 hours. I thought this was like, oh well, she'll like wake up and it's going to be like 3 in the afternoon. I mean, 48 hours sounds appropriate. Like realistically, there's a lot going on. 48 hours? What? No way. You're right. It's only around noon. What a jokester. You slept about 7 hours. Another one of the men from last night rounded the corner. Hey, run. He seemed shocked upon noticing my presence, his demeanor suddenly more friendly and relaxed, oddly enough. Renzo, are you harassing our guest here? Oh, well, no, he's just messing with me. No, he's fine. He actually made me laugh. The boy, who I assumed is named Renzo, smiled happily at my compliment. See, Alessio, not everyone is a stick in the mud like you. Yeah, whatever, kid. How old are you? How old are either one of you? I need to know for purposes. The one I now know is named Alessio simply grabbed a drink from the fridge and walked back towards the door. Before he leaves, though, he turns to speak to us once more. Ren, make sure she eats something. Once she's finished, take her to the common room. The guys need to give her the rundown. Renzo scoffs, acting as if he were just spoken down to. Yeah, keep your head straight. I'm not stupid. Ignoring Renzo's comment, he winks at me. If you ever need anything, beautiful, the name's Alessio. I love lines like this. They always make me laugh. Kind of figured that out already. Comes on strong, huh? Thank God he's gone. He doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut. Are you brothers or something? He seemed to want to rile you up a bit. Renzo rolled his eyes a bit. He wishes. But don't worry about it. It's pretty common here. Anyways, my name is Renzo, like I'm sure you've heard. Just Ren is fine, though. And that sleazeball was Alessio. Unfortunately for you, I'm sure he'll make it his mission to become more intimately acquainted with you later. So, you're hungry, right? Oh, yeah, I was. I can always wait, though, if we should hurry and join the others, like he said. Nah, I'll make you something to eat. Sit tight. Least I can do for breaking your back earlier. A man who can cook. Big points here. Okay, big points for Renzo. I don't know if I should be taking notes. I like Renzo a lot. Alessio's kind of intimidating. And oh my god, what's his name? I already forgot who the other guy is. Excuse me, I'm yawning already. Or I'll figure it out. The tall blonde man that escorted us to our room earlier. We don't know. Okay. Anyways, I like that. Thank you. Just don't blame me if it tastes like shit. I mean, it's the thought that counts. He made me sit and relax as he cooked, and in return he spent the time poking fun at anything and everything. He reminds me of the people who can't sit still, or the people who enjoy getting a reaction out of others. Honestly, it feels good to be around someone who can make me laugh, considering everything that's happened recently. After I quickly scarf down the halfway decent breakfast, he takes me to the living room to meet with the guys. Okay, halfway decent breakfast. Not bad at all. I love that. Okay, yeah, I don't remember his name. Oh my gosh, it's gonna bother me. It's not okay. Antonio. This one's Antonio. This is Antonio. This is Renzo. Alessio. And then I don't know the other three. Okay. Eventually, we found our way back to the living room, and all of the boys filed in not long after, each of them assuming a similar lineup as I saw them last night. Once a little bit of chatter dies down, Antonio clears his throat to gather the attention to him. That's so funny how they all line up in the same way. Maybe there's is it like the hierarchy? Maybe, possibly. Who knows? Good morning to you all. As I'm sure most of you are aware, this is Miss Marie Scarletta. The boys all nod, some sending friendly smiles my way. However, Miss Scarletta, you've not been properly acquainted with the others, I presume. That's right. I met Alessio and Renzo in the kitchen a moment ago, though. Well, despite that, I'll still follow formality. The boys all straighten up a bit, going to introduce themselves down the line. Antonio Ventola, underboss of the Ventola family, son of Roman Ventola. Okay, so this means, sorry, I was reading another mafia action romance related thing, a story. So does this mean if you're the underboss that you're in line to, like, you're not the boss of the family, like of the mafia family, which is fun. Whatever, that means something, but you're just right under the boss, which means you're like next in line should anything happen to the boss. But you're also second in line in the sense that like you are the person who has the most power after the boss. Very powerful. Okay, so keep that in mind. Underboss? What does that even mean? And why does he talk about Roman as if I know him? Because he probably thinks you do. But probably not. Shouldn't we all know that she's not involved in the mafia land here? Question mark? Don't know. Anyways, I love that I literally just learned what an underboss meant today, so this is great. But I'd similarly be confused if I was actually Marie. So who knows? Renzo snickered slightly to himself as he noticed my confused expression. Renzo, would you straighten up and take this seriously? Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, whatever you say. Renzo Ventola, son of Roman Ventola, brother to Antonio. Oh, well, you guys do wait, why am I just realizing that they look similar to each other? Anyways, I wasn't paying attention too much, but they do look similar to each other. Okay, but like, what's the age gap here? Renzo shoots a glare toward Antonio. Is that good enough now? Please ignore him. He's our house trickster, and normally doesn't take things like this seriously. The man wearing a sweater vest with short black hair nods firmly. Okay, so you agree with Antonio. He cheats at cards, too. Leo, please go ahead. Leonardo Morghese, son of Dacio. I can't read Italian. Dacio Morghese, Roman Ventola's current #1 capo. Don't know what that means. I did not get that far into the mafia romance story to know what #1 capo means. The red-haired man at the end looks rather troubled by this. I feel sort of bad for him, but what the hell is a capo? As for me, gorgeous, my name is Alessio Lucian, though you already know that. Son of Almiro Lucian, second capo to Roman Ventola. Okay, so your fathers are all doing some business together. Okay, but you're born into the family business, I see. Wink, wink. Alessio steps a bit closer to me, smirking a bit as he does. And if you ever want a good time, I'm the man to come to. Good to know, Alessio. Yep, seems like a massive flirt. Antonio's glare shoots daggers towards Alessio, causing him to back down. Alessio hits the back of the boy standing next to him, causing him to come forward. Oh, do you have... Your, like, eyes are different from everyone else's, like the color. And go ahead, Junior. You're with me, so you can go before Norielli over there. I can't read. Before Norielli over there. Angelo won't mind. Oop. Load. I accidentally went back. History. The man at the far right is seething, gritting his teeth to avoid speaking out. I wonder why. I don't think what he said was necessarily mean, but whatever. I don't know what voice. I'm Luca Masello Jr. I'm a soldati, a soldier with the Lucian family. Nice to meet you. Okay, so, you guys work together, so that's why you're going first as a hierarchy. Soldati? Soldier? What the heck are these guys talking about? That's my boy. Perfect manners. And you were so soft and kind. The blushing. Please stop, sir. Alessio just smirked and laughed to himself at Luca's deadpan reaction. The man on the far right didn't waste another moment before pushing forward and proceeding with his introduction. Angelo Norielli. Angelo Norielli, son of Gio Norielli, third capo to Roman Ventola. Okay, so the first and second capo, third capo, but you're together because you're like you're like a soldier for this family, and then you guys are brothers for the Ventola family. Okay, that makes sense. There's that word again. Seriously, what the fuck is going on? You guys are talking about a lot of things I have no idea about, as if I understand. I'm very confused now. You really have no idea. Mr. Scarletta informed me you wouldn't know a lot of this, but you don't know any of it? Antonio seems bothered by this, and so does Leo. Leo? Question mark? You look worried. Okay. They're the ones making this hard, though. Beating around the bush and talking about weird shit. Sir, what should we do? Mr. Scarletta told us not to mention too much, but my father told me to speak only what is necessary. Considering this has turned into a life or death situation for her, I'm deeming all of the information important. Okay, thank you, Antonio. After all, it's rather ignorant of Mr. Scarletta to continue keeping her in the dark. He's the last remaining, so if something happened to the old man, she might have to take care of some things. They all nod in unison, apparently agreeing with that statement. How can they call Grandpa ignorant, though? And what are they even talking about? I feel my annoyance slowly build with each passing moment. They make me feel stupid. Look, I don't mean to be rude, but you all keep speaking in tongues, and I have no idea what the hell is going on. Everything has been confusing, weird, and scary lately. It would be nice to have at least a little peace of mind. Antonio redirects his attention to me. Of course, it's quite simple, really. Your family is part of the mafia. Specifically, the Ventola family mafia. Dun dun dun. Mafia? Little blunt there, huh? Really gonna scare the little thing like that? I'm stating facts. We're sons of dangerous men, just like she's the daughter of a scoundrel. There's the title. It's life. Dad and Mom? Wait, even Grandpa? They all lied to me? Every single one of them. Is that why they... As I let this sink in, I feel myself freeze, in contrast to the warm liquid rolling down my face now. Oh, poor thing. I feel a bit embarrassed at the sudden outburst and begin trying to wipe my tears away as fast as they come. She's crying. Perhaps it's best to avoid mentioning the recently deceased, sir. I hardly consider it recent, but very well. Are you all right? I apologize if I've offended you. I wipe away the last of my tears, composing myself as quickly as possible. Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry. Just a bit caught up in my own thoughts. Please, continue. He simply nods, concern still on some of their faces. My father is the head of this family, Roman Ventola.
if you remember. He's the guy we all listen to and take orders from. He's not someone you'd want to anger. Then after that, there's what's called a consigliere. That's pretty much the advisor to the boss. That's your family, specifically your grandfather, Mr. Scarletta. The more I think about this, the less things made sense to me. Come on. No way. Grandpa is the nicest man I've ever known. And you're saying your occupation defines if you're a good person. You can't possibly compare other jobs to the mafia. You kill people. And God knows what else. Everyone's face is like, ooh, what's happening? Everyone in the room goes somewhat silent at my outburst. Outburst, sorry. I literally can't speak read today. Read, speak, whatever. I'm sorry. I got carried away. At the very least, you guys aren't the ones trying to kill me. I should be thankful. You're right. His tone was cold, but he decided to continue. Anyways, next below the both of them is the underboss. This is the person who will take over for the boss one day. Generally a family member. In this case, it's me. I knew that one, thank goodness. And then you have your capos, which are families that are subsections of your own, working for you. Leonardo is my number one moneymaker currently, which is why he said his family is number one, and so on and so forth. Under the capos, you have soldiers. That's what Junior is. He has also recently come into the life, so maybe he can provide some consolation later, should you need. Glad to know we've already declared me emotionally invalid, though I suppose it's true I've been touch and go the past few days. And then finally, our associates. People we work with, but aren't in the family. Got it? I mean, I guess. Good, because we're going to need to teach you the ropes in terms of social interaction, since you'll be staying with us. Wouldn't want you to offend anyone and start a war within the family. You're rather important, so the boss will be on your side, but we'd rather avoid that in any case. Yeah, me too. Antonio sighs to himself upon seeing me fall silent, focusing on the info dump he just provided me. All right, boys. Let's give her some time to organize her thoughts before we talk about her security. We'll meet back here later in the evening, around 6. As for you, Miss Scarletta, feel free to wander the house or the grounds. Just remain cautious. While security is tight here with patrols, all of us in this room are your first points of contact.
Cool. Love that. Love that for me. Hold on. Okay, great. So all of you men are my points of contact, first points of contact. So, but we can go around the state if we'd like.
Don't trust anyone else. Understand? I slowly nod, not looking towards them as I continue thinking. I hear them shuffle out of the room, mumbling to each other. I'm probably just an annoyance to them. I know nothing about anything in their world. Is it really true, though? All of them are mafia? Even my family?
I mean, that's a lot to process. I wouldn't know what to do if I just like found that out. Like, one, your parents who are gone were mafia, and then your grandfather, who you currently live with and is currently away from you, is mafia. Question mark. How did we get into all this? Who knows? And also, it's like very interesting how like her parents kept, and her grandfather has kept this from her like her entire life at this point.
Not like they have a reason to lie to me, though. It all makes sense, but it's still hard to believe. I sigh again, consumed in my thoughts. Everything is just peachy lately, isn't it? I noticed I had been sitting alone for a while now and decided to head back to my room for now. I'm sure they're busy doing whatever they do.
Can you like work from home as mafia? Like, what do? You just like, are you just at the estate and you're just watching over me? Question mark. I don't know.
Plus, I think it's better if I'm alone for now anyways. I sigh and run a hand through my hair as I close the the door gently behind me, my thoughts running a mile a minute. The mafia. The fucking mafia. On one hand, I get it. You don't really talk about shit like that. But on the other, I could have been in danger this whole time. I make my way over to the bed, sitting on the edge with my head in my hands. If someone saw me, I would probably look like I'm trying to memorize the patterns in the carpet. Mom and Dad were killed for being a Scarletta. That much I can be sure of now. But why? Were they affiliated? Or was it due to...
I mean, I'm betting that they're. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense? It's like, well, Grandpa was advisor. Or, well, their advisor. Well, no, Grandpa can be the advisor to the Roman Ventola and then have his son. But, like, and, like, you know, now his son has a wife and they're in the business. Most likely they're involved. They would have to at least know. But most likely they were involved. There's no other way. They just protected you, Marie, the child, from it all, which I don't know how that works realistically. If there are other maybe there aren't any others. You know, I'm trying to say, like, are there not any other, I guess there aren't any other children, at least that we've been introduced to, who would be also aware of this information and be like of similar age to Marie. So, okay. Interesting.
My phone rang loudly, effectively cutting off my thoughts. I looked down to check the caller ID, and I felt my body go cold. Grandpa. I sat there staring at the phone as it rang, trying to process my feelings. He lied to me. He said he would protect me, and yet it's his fault I was even targeted to begin with. And Mom and Dad. My voice came out as a crackled whisper, unwilling to finish my own sentence. Did he get them killed? Just by affiliation? I swallowed the lump in my throat and declined the call, tossing the phone aside. He had spent the next 10 minutes calling me non-stop and leaving text messages. Kiddo, you okay? Marie, I'm serious. Answer the phone. Kiddo, please. Just let me know you're okay. I just called Antonio. He told me what happened. Can we talk? I can see you don't feel up to it. I promise I was only trying to protect you. I watched the message previews solemnly as they popped up on the screen, feeling myself descend into numbness. Were the last 2 years a lie? A bit of playing house for some mafia fucking bigwig? Do I even really know him? The real him? Eventually the phone screen dimmed and I sighed deeply. Traitor. Liar. I turned my head as I heard a knock on the door. Miss Scarletta, it's Antonio. May I come in? Speak of the devil. Sure. Antonio lets himself in, leaving the door open behind him. It almost felt like he didn't want to be alone with me. I wonder if he's doing that for me, or his own reputation? Hello, miss. I understand that it may have been quite a shock for you to learn as much as you did. However, it was brought to my attention I had forgotten to discuss with you some ground rules, as well as exchange contact information to further our ability to protect you. Okay. I grabbed my phone from the bed, not bothering to look at all the missed texts and calls, and tossed it at him. To my surprise, he caught it without a flinch. Okay, reflexes. Fair enough. I guess they would need good reflexes. Feel free to put your number in and text yourself. I don't care. He raised an eyebrow inquisitively at me as if questioning my attitude, but I didn't care to elaborate. No password, I see. He quickly typed in his number and sent a text to himself, making his pocket buzz. He then made it a point to carefully walk over and hand my phone back to me. I'll make sure to give your information to the others. He straightened out the sleeves of his suit and standing up a bit straighter as he moved away from me. On to the ground rules now, I suppose. Please pay attention, for your own sake. First things first, don't save their contacts under their name, for your safety and ours. While we are easily capable of protecting you and ourselves, removing any outside variables for surprises or failures is necessary. Makes sense, I guess. After all, if someone wants to kill me for knowing Grandpa, I'm sure they'd want to kill me for knowing these guys. I was pulled from my bitter internal monologue as he cleared his throat and continued. Guess he noticed I zoned out. Whoops. You are not allowed to leave these grounds without my approval and an escort. However, feel free to walk the house and grounds as you please. As I mentioned, and as you may have noticed, the entire estate is fenced in and possesses advanced security features, not to mention foot patrol. Do not speak to the foot patrol unless you have to. They're grunts, nothing more. They've also been instructed not to speak with you. So what? I'm stuck here and can't talk to anyone? Am I a toddler? He seemed annoyed at being questioned, and his gaze shifted a bit more stern. In our world, yes, less than a toddler. We don't need to have you bumbling around and making our jobs harder. Your world before this was a walk in the park that even children can navigate. Here, if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, you can lose a finger. Here, saying one wrong thing to the wrong person can end up with information being delivered to someone who wants you dead. I swallowed a bit and recoiled at his words, my annoyance being replaced by the heaviness of the severity of the situation. He's right. I understand. I apologize. Good. Finally, I mentioned this before, but do not trust anyone. Your only allies are the people currently in this house. Understand? Yes, of course. I responded just as tersely as him, but eased up on my tone. There was no need to direct my attitude towards him right now. Very well. I'll pass your information along to the rest of them. Without another word, he excused himself and walked out of the room, gently closing the door behind him. Alone again, I began to ruminate over his words. Trust no one. Information given to the wrong person can lead to death. Is that what happened to Mom and Dad? Then something clicked into place, and I realized if I could find any evidence of what happened to them, it would be here, even if it's not much. But I owe it to myself and to them to try and find out the truth. Maybe even get some closure, like my therapist talked about. I nodded to myself, deciding to try my best to learn as much as I can while I'm here. Any information is better than none, and I have nothing but time now. There we go. I wiped my hands together as I finally finished putting my things away. No idea how long I'm stuck here for, but might as well make life more comfortable. Taking a moment to appraise the room, I made sure everything had a place, and I didn't leave anything strewn about or untidy. I gave a satisfied smile as I felt slightly more comfortable in my room. Or at least as comfortable as one can be in a house full of dangerous strangers. Oh, the sun's kind of pretty. Seeing all the pretty colors of the sky outside filled me a newfound desire to try and make the most of my time here. Antonio did say I was free to wander. No use staying in here bored. I could even try finding the backyard. A relaxing walk could be nice. I felt my own eagerness to explore build in part due to my curiosity, but also in part due to my earlier determination to discover whatever I could about this place, these people, and the mafia.
Okay. I'm gonna leave it here for this part. We have learned so much. Marie's learned that her grandfather's associated with the mafia. Probably her parents. Definitely her parents too, but were they involved? Question mark. We don't know yet. We've met these 6 men who were part of the Ventola family mafia. Cool. I really don't know much about them. We got the most interaction with Antonio, and then Renzo, the younger brother, and then there's also Alessio, who we had a bit more interaction with, but he's a big flirt, so kind of don't want to deal with him personally. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to know him more and he'll grow on me. I don't know. Then I don't really know much about the others except Leonardo. Maybe
he seems like we got to get more of an interaction with him via the introductions. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you're thinking of these guys in the situation. I think I'm most intrigued by Antonio and Renzo, but I think it might be due to the amount of interaction and like just conversation that Marie's had with them. So I could see that. I think I have to wait until there's a little bit more interaction with the rest of the guys to figure out who I would pursue, question mark. Again, this is a demo, so this is not going to be super um long. I'm not even sure if like there's that much more in the demo, so we'll see. But anyways, I'll leave the rest to another part and let you guys go. But if you haven't already liked the video, please like the video. Subscribe if you want to see the next and probably last part of the demo. And see more stuff on my channel. It'd be much appreciated. Anyways, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!